Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. Step into the chilling world of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, where the Central London Hatchery and Conditioning Centre epitomizes a society driven by eugenics, psychological conditioning, and predetermined social roles. In this meticulously controlled dystopia, individuals are manufactured rather than born, and concepts like family and individuality are eradicated in favor of community, identity, stability. As you delve into this summary, you'll explore themes of conformity, happiness as a tool of control, and the loss of personal freedom. Meet intriguing characters like John the Savage, whose journey of self-discovery starkly contrasts with the world state's hollow promises of happiness through conformity. Navigate the contrasting realms of the technologically advanced world state and the untouched reserve, revealing profound insights into the human spirit's struggle against societal oppression. Uncover how Huxley's vision critiques control, choice, and the homogenization of human experience.
Engineered harmony. At the Central London Hatchery and Conditioning Centre, the mantra, community, identity, stability guides the creation of human beings. Within these sterile walls, where light seems arrested and lifeless, laboratory technicians manipulate microscopes and test tubes, crafting society's future members. Here, children are engineered in a world devoid of traditional family structures. The concept of parents, especially mothers, is deemed vulgar. All individuals are lab-generated, with eggs not only fertilized but meticulously conditioned to fit societal roles. Society's hierarchy manifests at conception. Alphas and betas, the potential leaders and thinkers, are nurtured in incubators. In contrast, gammas, deltas, and epsilons undergo the rigorous Bokanovsky process, a cloning technique resulting in groups of up to 96 identical humans. This method crafts a legion of standardized, compliant beings, essential for maintaining social order. Sterilization of 70% of the populace ensures reproduction remains controllable, eliminating spontaneous human creation. Conditioning extends beyond physical attributes, it shapes minds, too. From birth, individuals learn to loathe books and flowers, items viewed as hazardous to societal stability. Books, with their power to provoke thought, are dangerous disruptors of the status quo, while flowers might lure people away from productivity into idle nature. Secure in this aversion, social stability is reinforced. Hypnopedic lessons, phrases ingrained during sleep, instill society's moral code into the subconscious, ensuring a natural affinity with their designated roles. Further conditioning imparts specific aversions or tendencies based on societal needs. Some are taught to despise cold, motivating their settlement in the tropics, perfectly aligned with their occupational roles. Happiness, in this engineered world, arises from aligning personal preferences with societal demands, a testament to the state's belief that genuine happiness comes from loving one's work. This system at the hatchery mirrors the broader dystopian values of the world state depicted in Brave New World. Unlike typical dystopias characterized by violent suppression, control here stems from a calculated blend of eugenics, psychological manipulation, and hierarchical determinism. By predetermining each individual's life path and ensuring contentment within that path, discord is abolished. There's no impetus for rebellion, as people are blissfully content in their predestined roles. Such conditioning starkly contrasts with George Orwell's 1984, where control is brutally imposed. Instead, Brave New World demonstrates a subtler tyranny of happiness, where conditioned satisfaction forestalls dissent. The hatchery exemplifies this extreme social engineering, achieving an unyielding stability by eliminating the desires that might challenge it. In this chilling vision of society, the greatest achievement is a populace too content to question their excess. Between worlds. At the edge of a vast, sand-colored desert stands the Pueblo of Malpais, untouched by the modernity of the world state. Here, Bernard, a thoughtful citizen from London, embarks on a holiday, bringing along Lenina, a young woman he's been seeing. The stark contrast between this traditional village in New Mexico and their futuristic society immediately strikes them. Lenina, in particular, is taken aback by scenes that are ordinary in Malpais, like nursing mothers, finding such sights indecent through her conditioned eyes. The duo soon meets John, a young man dressed in native clothes yet strikingly different with his blonde hair and blue eyes. Lenina finds herself drawn to this intriguing stranger and his familiarity in appearance, despite living among the Pueblo people. John, too, is captivated by Lenina, having never encountered someone who resembles him in such corporeal grace. Their encounter extends to Linda, John's mother, whose disheveled appearance and alcoholic odor bear witness to years of isolation. Once a member of the civilized world herself, Linda ends up trapped in Malpais after a tragic accident, raising John amidst stories of a distant, glamorous civilization. John's upbringing is a curious fusion of Linda's nostalgic tales and the harsh realities of life in the Pueblo. He becomes an outcast, his imagination fueled by one of the few books available to him, the complete works of William Shakespeare. Shakespeare's words resonate with John, their rhythm akin to the enchanting summer dances of the village yet profoundly personal. From those pages, he draws guidance and finds parallels for his life's grievances, especially his righteous fury towards Pope, Linda's partner, akin to a Shakespearean villain. John's attempt to emulate literary revenge fails, yet the bard's influence binds his worldview to themes of destiny and identity. When Bernard and Lenina open a window to their brave new world, John's intrigue heightens. He eagerly questions whether they are wed, to which Bernard humorously dismisses the notion, piquing John's enthusiasm for this novel society. Bernard, however, remains cautious, suggesting a tempered approach before immersing John in civilization. This narrative reveals a corner of the world untouched by the world-state's dominion, a place where life, death, and the human condition unfold in raw authenticity. Central to this tale is John, a bridge between two disparate worlds, embodying cultural duality yet belonging wholly to neither. Conditioned not by the methods of Londoners but by the timeless words of Shakespeare, John illustrates the universal power of language in shaping minds and actions. As he eagerly awaits his journey to a new land, he is unaware that his reference to a brave new world, borrowed aptly from The Tempest, will become a recurring theme in his interactions with the world state, deeply framing his evolving perceptions of what it means to belong. The Savage's Disillusion. When Bernard takes John, known as the Savage, to London, John becomes an overnight celebrity, attracting widespread attention for his novelty. Initially unfazed by the city's technological marvels, John soon experiences shock and revulsion upon witnessing a factory filled with rows of identical twins. The eerie sameness of such factory workers hits him viscerally, triggering a physical reaction of disgust. His initial excitement wanes quickly as the societal differences between the life he's known and the world state become glaringly apparent. While John garners endless scrutiny, his mother Linda, perceived as a lesser curiosity, finds solace in Soma, the ubiquitous drug that promises continuous bliss. For Linda, Soma is an escape, a portal to an existence filled with endless sensory delight, removing the necessity to confront uncomfortable truths or past traumas. Despite John's disapproval of Soma and his mother's dependence on it, he partakes in the Feelies, the culture's pinnacle of entertainment, blending cinema and sensory stimulation. At the Feelies, aromatic bursts punctuate the air as vibrant images unfold before John's eyes. Sensations mimic real experiences, leading him to witness intimate scenes he finds both alien and uncomfortable. Lenina, enthralled by the experience, urges John toward intimacy. Her advances perplex him, as Lenina sees nothing wrong with casual pleasures in a society where personal relationships are open and free of traditional bonds. Promiscuity is the norm, ingrained from early childhood, completely foreign to John's upbringing of commitment and restraint. Raised with a strong moral compass shaped by the traditional values and experiences of Malpais, John finds himself continually at odds with the world he now inhabits. He is bound by principles that no longer hold relevance in this new society where hedonism and instant gratification reign supreme. Though drawn to Lenina, his struggle intensifies as he battles desires that conflict with his deeply ingrained sense of morality. The reality of London starkly contrasts with John's idealistic expectations. Instead of a utopia, he encounters a dystopia where individuals, despite seeming liberated, are trapped in cycles of pleasure without true fulfillment. John's journey renders him an outsider once more, elevated as a spectacle but never truly accepted as part of the broader social fabric. Linda's return to a culture of endless pleasure only cements her dependence on Soma, underscoring the harsh dichotomy between perceived civilization and the raw challenges of life outside its confines. Through both John and Linda's experiences, the text underscores that true happiness is not merely an absence of pain or discomfort, but something complex and often elusive in an engineered society. Clash of Worlds. In a society numbed by complacency, where emotions are blunted and individuality is stifled, the tragic figure of John finds himself ensnared in an internal conflict between his raw humanity and the sterile uniformity surrounding him. Park Lane Hospital for the Dying becomes a pivotal setting where personal grief collides with societal norms. When Lenina enters John's life, driven by a haze of Soma, a drug embodying the dispassionate world they live in, she seeks intimacy without understanding the depth of his feelings. John's proclamation of love only results in a painful misalignment between their desires and the role Soma plays in clouding true emotions. The narrative takes a sobering turn as John receives distressing news: his mother, Linda, is on her deathbed at the hospital. Her addiction to Soma has left her a hollow shell, disintegrated from the vibrant storyteller of John's past. As identical young boys swarm around, oblivious to the gravity of death, John is struck by societal conditioning at its peak. In this world, death is stripped of its solemnity and reduced to another ordinary biological event. The children's curiosity and indifference highlight a deeply ingrained desensitization, provoking John's rage and reinforcing his isolation in mourning. Linda's final breath coincides with a delivery of Soma, the very substance she depended on, and John is overwhelmed with anguish and spirituality alien to those around him. His cries for change echo as he watches the hospital's entrance churn out the same drug that enslaved his mother. Fueled by his despair, John pleads with onlookers to reject the poison and asserts it as a catalyst for mental subjugation. His actions incite commotion, attempting to dismantle the numb acceptance that grips his community. However, the disturbance is quickly silenced by a calculated deployment of Soma vapor and programmed reassurance through artificial messaging. In the upheaval, John is joined by Helmholtz and Bernard, kindred spirits in pursuit of individuality, though they too find their rebellion short-lived. Their defiance earns them an audience with Mustafa Mond, a world controller who acknowledges their uniqueness, offering them exile to an island of like-minded souls. Here, being an individual isn't a punishment but rather a liberation from societal conformity, a rare opportunity to thrive outside the boundaries of state control. John's confrontation with Mond crystallizes the philosophical divergence at the heart of this society. For John, existence demands the full spectrum of human experience: struggle, agony, and joy intertwined. He argues that without adversity, true beauty and freedom remain inaccessible. In contrast, Mond champions a curated happiness achieved through sacrificing freedom, advocating stability over the chaos of individual expression. This intense ideological exchange underscores John's breaking point. His mother's death and the ensuing chaos expose the dystopia veiling the so-called utopia he once dreamed of. John's failed insurrection against the Soma-driven state highlights a fundamental truth: literature and emotion are potent forces, capable of destabilizing societal equilibrium. The Soma pacifies unrest, emphasizing the societal preference for docility over genuine passion. At its core, the narrative presents a sophisticated debate, refraining from labeling Mond or John as wholly virtuous or villainous. Instead, readers are left to navigate the moral and philosophical nuances between their clashing ideologies. John's desperate cries and his struggle for transformation resonate as a call to action against a world that sacrifices the essence of humanity for superficial bliss. In his quest for change, John epitomizes the eternal battle between individuality and a society bent on suppressing it, a struggle that reverberates through the echoes of his brave new world. Collision of Worlds. Within the confines of an isolated lighthouse, John the Savage wrestles with the profound clash between his own values and the suffocating grip of a manufactured society. Feeling defiled by the world state, he undergoes a self-imposed purification ritual, invoking the cultural cleansing methods of both Shakespeare and his indigenous roots. His retreat to this solitary space becomes a crucible for his spiritual struggle, where ascetic discipline takes the form of sleepless prayer and self-flagellation. Yet, amid the gratifying toil of survival, John occasionally slips into moments of unintended enjoyment, a reminder of his past life in London that he quickly punishes with a whip, marking his body with anguish. As if drawn by an invisible force, crowds gather to witness the spectacle of his torment. Helicopters deliver swarms of spectators, whose chants for more brutality echo his own inner conflict. John's fragile stand against temptation crumbles when Lenina appears, triggering a visceral reaction that spirals into violence. His whipping becomes a frenzied dance that entrances the crowd, their desire for conformity leading them to mimic his self-inflicted pain. Amidst the cries of "Orgy! Porgy!" the gathering devolves into a chaotic blend of ritualistic fervor and primal indulgence, blurring the line between devotion and debauchery. The morning finds John in a haze of soma-induced oblivion, haunted by the previous night's frenzy. Desperate, he calls out to God, but his cries echo unanswered. The novel closes with a stark image: reporters enter the lighthouse, calling out for the savage, only to discover the tragic resolution of John's battle. He hangs lifeless, his feet swaying, a casualty of an irreconcilable divide. John's tale underscores a poignant reality: the individual spirit can be overwhelmed by the collective pressures of a world that equates conformity with contentment. The orgiastic climax exemplifies the dystopian society's triumph over personal conviction, where ritual loses its sacredness and becomes just another societal performance, void of genuine meaning. In this world, individuality succumbs to the relentless tide of mass culture, as John's story ends where personal resistance meets its grim end, swallowed by the very forces he sought to escape.
By the end of Huxley's Brave New World, the reader is left to grapple with profound questions about freedom, happiness, and societal evolution. The tragic arc of John the Savage underscores the novel's central tension, the conflict between individuality and societal conditioning. John's tragic end is a testament to the immense power of society over the individual's spirit. Through characters like Mustafa Mond, Huxley presents fundamental debates on human nature, happiness, and freedom, forcing readers to contemplate their values. The novel warns of a future where convenience and pleasure outweigh genuine human connection and autonomy. The stark contrast between the chaotic freedom in Malpace and the sterile, regulated world state invites reflection on the costs of a happiness that eschews struggle, pain, and authenticity. Ultimately, Brave New World challenges us to consider what we sacrifice for societal stability and prompts a deeper understanding of what it truly means to be free.